Get the whole Young Turks 3-hour show by going to theyoungturks.com. If you become a member, you get the whole show, plus a very fun post-game show as well. See you there. Welcome to the Young Turks. We got a loaded show for you guys as usual, of course. The bank CEOs go up to in front of a commission and finally begin to tell the story of what they did wrong. There are actually some bright spots about that, and a proposal by Obama, which is interesting. Again, a little bit of hope in that category. And there are going to be a lot of fun parts of this show, including absolutely mental conservative commentary. And J.R. Jackson releases Limbaugh Money. It's based on a popular song you know, except it's done by DJ Triple J. Limbaugh Money, later in the program. Fun for everybody. And the Limbaugh quote you're going to hear in a little bit. Once again, I mean, he has a way of topping himself. Okay, so you know all these stories are coming, but obviously we have to start with the largest story, which is the disaster in Haiti. And wow, this is a lot larger than it, of course, initially looked yesterday. We got a 7.0 earthquake that hit Haiti, and it hit about 5 miles outside of the capital, and absolutely devastating. Now reports from many different sources, including CNN and the UN, saying that it looks like there's going to be over 100,000 dead. Now, there was a report out that somebody claiming that it could be 500,000 dead, but there's no good ways of estimating. The 500,000 number sounds, too large, but there's no way of knowing. They say almost every single house and building in Haiti has been damaged, and of course, a tremendous number of them have collapsed, including, as you see there, the presidential palace. So, and then we have devastation throughout the country. The the UN missions headquarters also collapsed. There's about 140 missing people, including the chief of the mission, and his name is Hedi Anabi, and he appears to have died in the earthquake. One of the top Catholic official in Haiti has also apparently died. The Parliament building has collapsed. Almost all of the major buildings, including the presidential palace, have collapsed. I mean, this is as big as it gets. And not only is it a gigantic earthquake, but it hit in one of the worst spots for an earthquake to hit, because Haiti being an impoverished country, you're not going to be surprised to find out that a lot of their buildings were not up to code, if there is a code. And so, the panic there is indescribable and obvious. And it's not just the panic, of course, it's the simple number of people buried in the rubble. And then, of course, what happens next is very, very important, because now you have the possibility of disease and hunger, et cetera, that hits, and some degree of pandemonium that also hits in these situations. Now, there's already stories about a prison that collapsed, probably killing some of the inmates, but now the story is that some of those inmates have escaped, which is very normal, right? There's some stories of looting, but not much that I've heard. But mainly, as you see from the footage here, it's just people that are so dazed. I mean, they don't have time to do anything. I mean, they're just trying to find their family members. But the reason I mention that is because the police are also devastated. I saw a police building in the rubble, and everyone's devastated. So they don't know what to do, and they're trying to rush in supplies and help, of course, from the not only surrounding countries but countries all over the world. They've got issues in England because of winter weather. They're having trouble bringing people in. Obviously, we're going to send some people in from Florida, from Los Angeles. A crew is going out there. Now, of course, another problem is we've got a bunch of scammers that love opportunities like this. And so, unfortunately, you're going to hear a lot of appeals for Haiti that are fake and some of that are real. And what's terrible about that is not just the money that those people steal that with the fake appeals for Haiti that actually goes in their pocket, but then it dampens the real money would be sent to Haiti. So, but look, International Red Cross you can't go wrong with. And of course, they have, a simple Google search will give you the FBI tips on what to avoid and what's legitimate and an easy place to give, so that you can find that fairly easily. But, obviously this happened yesterday, but I didn't get a sense of the magnitude of it until today, because the news media hadn't rushed in yet. We hadn't seen the pictures yet. We hadn't seen the video yet. We had no idea it was in the neighborhood of 100,000 people that might have died. So now, Anderson Cooper, I mean, CNN, what they do well is go to the scene of these things and get footage. And they've done that well here, and you have to give them credit for it. Anderson Cooper, one of the first guys on the ground, he's got a little, relaying a story from Haiti, or a number of stories from Haiti. Let's listen in on that for a little while.
I'm actually right outside what remains of the National Cathedral. It's hard to tell, frankly. It was the National Cathedral. So much of it is just completely destroyed. I'm about a block away from the Presidential Palace, which is pretty much everyone knows by now has been severely damaged. But I got to tell you, the human drama which is occurring here on every single street is extraordinary. No matter what street you go down in this area, there is someone trying to be rescued. There are flattened buildings with small groups of neighbors and family literally digging through the rubble, digging through concrete with their hands, with their fingers. Occasionally you see a shovel or a pickaxe or a chisel. It is slow, laborious work, and it is often unsuccessful work. Many times the voices which were crying out hours ago are now silent. But I've just seen a remarkable rescue of a young girl named Bee. She was 13 years old. This happened just about a block from the National Palace. She was in a building trapped since last night. They discovered her this morning. They've been trying to dig for her for several hours. I just happened upon the scene about 30 minutes ago. You could see two of her feet. You could hear her crying out, and there was a lot of arguing over how to try to get her out. They were literally just digging with their hands. And just an extraordinary moment a few moments ago, they pulled her out. She's alive. She is well. 4 members of her family are dead. They are piled up right outside the destroyed building where she was rescued from. But it's one small victory on a street which has seen so much misery. There are bodies, I don't want to say on every block, but it's every few blocks. You see a white shroud on a street corner or in the gutter, and you know it's a body, or 3 bodies, or 4 bodies. Sometimes they're not even covered in shrouds. They're just laid out like that. I just saw what must have been probably a 5-year-old, 6-year-old girl whose body was covered by part of a cardboard box. It is a somber sight here, and people are just kind of milling around. They don't have anywhere to go. Their homes are destroyed. Some of them have just been sleeping out on the streets or in open fields under tents. I talked to one man who, said he's just walking around. He doesn't know what else to do. He doesn't have water. He's not sure where to go or what happens now. But he wanted his 3 kids in America to know that he was alive, and that's why he was talking to me. The only thing to compare this to is Hurricane Katrina. But I can tell you in the last 30 minutes or the last hour that I've been driving, I've seen probably 20 to 25 bodies on the streets, and that's just on the main avenues in downtown Port-au-Prince.
And so, Anderson, when you arrived a few hours ago at the airport, was there sign of any kind of rescue or recovery effort underway there? People who have arrived from other parts of the world to try to help out, to bring in some of this machinery, bring in some of these resources that you are describing is in great lacking there.
Well, I can tell you, in the downtown streets of Port-au-Prince, I've seen no heavy earth-moving equipment whatsoever. I've seen a few Haitian police vehicles driving by scenes of people trying to pull other people out of the wreckage and not stopping. Maybe they had somewhere else to go, that was more urgent. I don't know. But I haven't seen any concerted, organized relief effort. What I've seen is neighbors pulling together for neighbors, family members desperately trying to do what they can to save their loved ones. But you find a lot of people just standing outside of destroyed buildings, and you go up and you start talking to them, and they'll say, "My wife is inside." And you say, "Is she alive?" And they just shake their head, "No, she's dead." And yet they have nowhere else to go. They're just standing there, and there's no sign, there's no chance that person is going to be removed from that building anytime soon. At the airport, there are small groups of people coming in. I talked to 4 members of the International Red Cross who were flying in at the same time that we were flying in. But in terms of large-scale E-130s and the like, I personally haven't seen it yet.
Oh, and so even the Red Cross folks that you ran into, they have just themselves. They don't have any kind of equipment, etc. When you talk to a number of the people there who are looking at the rubble, trying to reach loved ones, or have simply given up because their loved ones are crushed, are people saying anything about what their greatest need is, whether they have any hope that anyone will be able to get there within some time to help those people who just might be alive still underneath the rubble, or do they feel rather forgotten, or do they feel this is a perilous situation?
You know, this is a city of 2 million people, and right now there's a city of 2 million different needs. Everybody has something different, but, you know, certainly water is going to be a major issue. You know, there's no electricity. That's going to become an issue over time. But, I mean, at this point, it's water, it's going to be shelter, and it's going to be medicine for the sick, and recovery of those who have died. And literally, as we're speaking, a man is, I mean, this is incredible. A man is pushing a wheelbarrow, and in the wheelbarrow is what looks like a teenager wrapped in a shroud, dead. He's taking her, I think, to the hospital, because that's what's later on down this street. That's where I'm headed next. But I mean, I've seen people walking with coffins over their head. I've seen a man walking with an old lady in a wheelbarrow as well. There's not a sense of you know, of what's happening next. People are literally just trying to get through today. I don't even know that people can think about what happens tomorrow.
And when you talk about on your way to the hospital, tell me about the concern about how sturdy, how safe that hospital is, if indeed it is still standing, since we mentioned a lot of Doctors Without Borders facilities, clinics, they are inoperable. They simply are not safe for anyone to go to. What do you know about the hospital that you're on the way to?
You know, I've heard stories, but I honestly don't want to just pass along stories. I only want to tell you what I've seen and can tell you firsthand. I don't know what the situation in the hospital is. That's what I want to head there next. But, I mean, literally, you know, you plan to head to a place, but you stop every block because, I mean, there's people in need, and they're calling out. And, you know, they see you in a vehicle, and they wonder if there's something you can do. And it's so frustrating. You know, you're only there with a camera and try to do what you can. And you know, but it's hard to describe. I got to tell you, words sort of fail.
All right, and there's Anderson Cooper in Haiti doing a good job or doing the best job he can of trying to describe the situation. And they mentioned the hospitals. The problem is a lot of the hospitals collapsed. So people that were already sick inside the hospitals, the hospital collapsed, or portions of the hospitals collapsed. And then when you try to bring the sick and the injured to the hospital, it's not there. I mean, it's there, but large portions of it, sometimes entire hospitals collapsed. Schools collapsed. I mean, it's the definition of a disaster area, and it's just, obviously it's heartbreaking. And by the way, the Roman Catholic Archbishop of Port-au-Prince is now confirmed dead. There was 9,000 peacekeepers, United Nations peacekeepers in Haiti, but they're mainly worried about their own because a lot of them died. We've got 11 confirmed Brazilians dead from the peacekeeping force, and that's just the confirmed. And it goes on and on. Now, the U.S., as I said, is trying to step in and help in a lot of different ways. One of the things they've decided to do is to halt deportations into Haiti, which makes all the sense in the world. It's not the time to be deporting people to Haiti, right? How long is it going to take before conservatives complain about that? You don't think it's coming? Okay. Now, you don't think, wait a minute, Cenk, you're being unfair, right? I can't believe I said that. Conservatives would never use a tragedy like this to make political points, controversial political points, right? Of course they would. Get a load of Rush Limbaugh. It's clip number 7, and it's hideous.
Yes, I think in the Haiti earthquake, ladies and gentlemen, in the words of Rahm Emanuel, we have another crisis simply too good to waste. This will play right into Obama's hands, humanitarian, compassionate. They'll use this to burnish their, shall we say, credibility with the black community in both light-skinned and dark-skinned black community in this country. It's made to order for him. That's why he couldn't wait to get out there. Could not wait to get out there.
Couldn't wait to get out there? What's he supposed to do? I can guarantee you, if he waited to get out there, you'd have been all over him, like you were every other time. Oh, I can't believe he hasn't made a statement yet. He's the president. Of course he's going to make a statement. Anybody would make a statement. A Republican would, a Democrat would. And it's in Haiti. It's not in our country. I don't know if you know that. It's like, it almost seems like you can't wait to blame him for it. He can't quite do that, so instead he goes another direction and says, oh, yeah, he loves it. It's too good to be true for Obama. Yeah, I'm sure that's what Obama's thinking. Oh, thank God, 100,000 people died in Haiti. That's so good for me because I'll do better with light-skinned and black-skinned blacks in the country. What light skin and black skin have anything to do with this? Okay? I mean, you're going to take this and you're going to now make it racial, and I don't even understand the distinction you're making in that case. And this is going to help him with the black community. I thought you said the black community supported him 100% no matter what he did. Isn't that what I hear from Rush Limbaugh all the time? Obama needs help in the black community, and he's excited about the tragedy in Haiti because it'll help him with the black community because he's having trouble with them here politically. Is that your logic, Rush? Look, these guys know no bounds to their depravity. I mean, there's no end to this with Rush Limbaugh. The only person who seemed too excited about the story was him. Oh, it's going to play into his hands. It's going to play into Obama's hands. I mean, look, it's one thing when it's inside the country, right? And then, hey, were we ready? How did we react? Et cetera, right? But when there's an international tragedy, even Bush didn't bungle that. He would go in and rush in and try to help, okay? And he would make statements right away, and he would, like all presidents, say, oh, you know, we can't believe what went wrong. It was terrible. We're looking forward to helping. He did that many times throughout his administration. We never thought, oh, yeah, oh, that tsunami. That played right into Bush's hands. Oh, he's going to want to take advantage of this with light-skinned and dark-skinned whites. It wouldn't occur to you. But, of course, that's the first thing Rush thinks. Somehow make it racial, somehow make it political, somehow blame Obama. If you think this guy actually has, you know, the country's best interest in mind, that he's not playing political games to try to blame Obama for everything, you're crazy. I mean, come on, it's obvious, it's super obvious what he's doing, and it couldn't be more obvious in this case. All right, you think Rush Limbaugh's bad? Wait till you get a load of Pat Robertson. Now, Pat Robertson is hideous in his dealings with Haiti in a couple of different ways. One, he's going to use this as an opportunity to raise money for his own organization. Now, he's saying it's going to Haiti. I hope regulators are all over that, because we've done stories before when he claims, oh, yeah, I'm going to go help Africa. And then it turns out it actually went to buy helicopters for his diamond mines in Africa. So if you're going to contribute to Pat Robertson's organization and you think it's going to Haiti, I'd think twice about that, okay? But that, in this case, believe it or not, that plays second fiddle to what he said during his broadcast. This is unreal. Let's watch.
You know, Christy, something happened a long time ago in Haiti, and people may not want to talk about it. They were under the heel of the French, you know, Napoleon III and whatever. And they got together and swore a pact to the devil. They said, we will serve you if you'll get us free from the French. It's a true story. And so the devil said, okay, it's a deal. And they kicked the French out. You know, the Haitians revolted and got themselves free. But ever since, they have been cursed by one thing after the other, desperately poor. That island of Hispaniola is one island. It's cut down the middle. On the one side is Haiti, on the other side is the Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic is prosperous, healthy, full of resorts, etc. Haiti is in desperate poverty. Same island. They need to have, and we need to pray for them, a great turning to God. And out of this tragedy, I'm optimistic something good may come. But right now, we're helping the suffering people, and the suffering is unimaginable.
Absolutely, Pat.
All right, let me explain. Earlier in that broadcast, Robertson said, you know, I'm optimistic, too, because maybe they'll help rebuild the country after this. You're optimistic, and you think this might be for the better. I mean, it sounds like a Barbara Bush comment, you know, in the Astrodome. They're going to be better off now. Yeah, 100,000 of them died, right? But they'll be better off. They'll rebuild that country. It was pretty poor anyway. And then later he talks about, and she talks about, his co-host over there, talks about how they're going to pray for Haiti. And they're going to go over there, they're going to send teams to pray for Haiti. Yeah, that'll do it. Look, there's nothing wrong with prayer. And you want to pray for Haiti, that's great. Don't send money to Pat Robertson so he can pray for Haiti. Okay, don't do it. And then let's get to the real deal here. Deal with the devil? It's a true story? It's a true story. It's a true story. Where does he get this stuff? Where does he, I mean, deal with the devil, but Pat Robertson knows. How does Pat Robertson know? Who told you? If it happened, I know when Haiti gained its independence, it was in 1804. Pat Robertson wasn't there, right? So who did you ask, Pat? The devil? How would you know? How would you know it's a truth? I mean, it is so absurd. All right, now, if you think that's bad, here's why he might have said it, which might be even worse. Haiti was the first post-colonial, independent, black-led nation in the world. And they were the only nation whose independence was gained through a slave revolt. Now, why would Pat Robertson even imagine that they made a deal with the devil in order to gain independence? And why would he only say that about the one country that had a slave revolt to overthrow their European rulers? I don't know if that's why, because he's mental. I can't figure it out. But as I read the history of Haiti, and its independence, that's the only thing that jumps out at you. Why it would be different than any other country. Deal with the devil. I'm blown away by that. And they were cursed. Do you notice what he's doing too? That makes it an extra layer of hideousness. He's blaming the Haitians for this. He's saying, well, look, if you hadn't made a deal with the devil and overthrown your slave owners, well, back in 1804, well, then you wouldn't have been cursed like this. It's your fault for getting cursed. And this is what Pat Robertson does all the time. He did it after 9/11 about America. He said it was the gays, the lesbians, the liberals, and that they cursed America, and that's why we got hit. He did it after Hurricane Katrina. He does it every time. This is how this charlatan collects your money. It's sickening. It's unbelievable. Is there any point where we can say, that's it, Pat Robertson's done, that he has no legitimacy, that he should never, ever be considered not only someone that can go on a news station or that can influence policy, but I mean, this guy should not be accepted in open society. He's hideous. Deal with the devil. Unreal. Look, maybe it's the size of the tragedy, but that really pissed me off. We play a lot of clips that are, ridiculous, etc., and most of the time I laugh about it. But that was beyond the pale, man. That's something altogether different. Pat Robertson is a hideous human being, as bad as it gets. Don't send him any money. Don't you dare do it. That is the dumbest thing you could ever do. Young Turks.
Right, that's where we headed. The #1 progressive talk show. Don't you
Well,
forget
the Young
it.
Turks. All right, fun and exciting hour ahead, of course. I'm your host, Jay Huger. J.R. Jackson's producing, and Jesus Godoy is directing. We have some healthcare news, some financial news, some conservatives, et cetera, et cetera. And then I really want to get to the Beck clip today on Indians. He has some choice words to say about Indians. If you're an Indian American, as an Asian Indian, South Asian, you're going to want to see this. And even if you're not, my guess is you're going to want to see this. All right, now let's start with a little bit of good news first. Barack Obama is planning to raise, he says, $120 billion from banking fees. Fees that he's going to impose on the banks to recoup the money we might lose through the TARP program. Now, I think that is good news. One, it shows a significant effort, I should put it that way. Whether it's a real effort, we're going to see, okay? And I'm not doubting it. I know that there are some pitfalls to it, and that there are bankers who are screaming from the rooftops, oh, we don't care, we're going to pass it on to our clients, it's a tax on the American people, la la la. But they're screaming, why are you grabbing me? Because obviously they think they can't pass it all on to their customers, and they don't want it, and $120 billion is a gigantic number, so they're not happy about it. So if they're not happy about it, that's a good thing. Now, on the other hand, will they find 18 different ways around it? Of course they will. Will we get the whole $120 billion? I suspect not. But hey, listen, just because it's not perfect doesn't mean it's not the right way to go. I like that he's at least headed in that direction. So I view this, for the moment being, with a healthy dose of skepticism, to be good news. And now, the parts of it, of course, now, when we break down the details that are problematic is, look, we know the best way to do the fees on the banks. Because if you just charge the companies, they do pass it on to their customers, at least a large portion of it, We don't want him to do that. We want to get the money back from the executives who caused the problem in the first place. And understand something, this is not punitive. This isn't, oh, you ruined the economy, so I'm going to punish you. No, this is, we gave you taxpayer money, and now we're looking to get it back, which makes perfect sense. If the taxpayer money was to prop you up and stabilize you so you're all right, okay, and then we get it back, that makes sense. If we don't get it back, well, then it doesn't make quite as much sense. So that's what we're trying to do here. And there are two very logical ways of doing this, and ones that are, A, being done in Europe now, and B, proposed all over the world as a logical step. And in fact, the rest of the world is pressuring us to go in that direction, but we're fighting it. So those two ways are windfall profit tax on the bonuses, okay? So that way we know it's not coming out of the customers. We know it's coming out of the executive bonuses, and they're about to have record bonuses this year. Let's take it out of there. Unfortunately, Obama says, no, we're not going to take it out of there. The other way of doing it is a financial transaction tax. So every time they have these transactions, a tiny, tiny tax on them. But obviously after a while it adds up. And the other thing that it does is it discourages more risky transactions because you get taxed on every transaction. And now you need the whole world to do it together, otherwise the money's going to go to different countries. But the rest of the world is on board. They're saying, hey, can we please do this? So we could, and obviously they need America, otherwise it's not going to work. And of course the guy fighting it is Geithner. So now Obama did not lay out what kind of fees he's going to do, how he's going to impose those fees on the banks. So I don't want to be overly pessimistic. So that's why I think, hey, look, at least he announced it, and that's a big number. And so I hope it can work, and I hope that the plan that they come up with is a good one, and will at least get us some of that money back, right? At the same time, if you don't do it in the two ways that make the most sense, I start to get worried. And the other thing that you should be a little worried about is why the $120 billion number? Because that's what they're estimating they're going to lose through the TARP program. So if they're estimating they're going to lose that, historically speaking, chances are pretty good that they're going to lose at least that much. If they think they're going to get it all back through fees, that the banks aren't going to find a clever way around, well, historically speaking, that's not usually the case. So I got my worries about it, but combined with the commission that actually in some parts asked the right questions of the bankers and brought in some real consultants, financial consultants, that told you what the real problem was, leverage, combined with this new announcement by Obama, we're beginning to head in the right direction. And I guarantee you there wouldn't be anybody happier in the country than me if we actually did real financial reform. And if he came out tomorrow and said, here's how we're going to do it, and it made sense, and the economists said, yes, that will roughly work. It's good enough. Let's try it. I come on here with bells on. You know me. I'll come out here. But we're not there yet. We're getting closer. Let's put it that way. All right. So that's my optimism for the day. So let's hope that works out. By the way, if you want to know what the right things to do are to get the money back and to, more importantly, to regulate so that the mess doesn't happen again, well, first off, you should listen to the top former regulators in the country. Elliot Spitzer, William Black, Frank Partnoy have written many articles about what steps you need to take. I've read them. They're perfectly sensible. They seem just right to me. And then for this commission now, the financial commission that's brought in the bankers, they laid out 10 different questions with many different parts as to the questions you should ask them. If I was the commission, I would just simply take it and ask the questions. Because believe me, they know this a hell of a lot better than the commissioners do. I'm not saying anything against the commissioners. They've asked some good questions so far. And then, as you look at it, you think, wait, why aren't any of those guys on the commission? I mean, Bill Black is the guy who, during the savings and loans crisis, figured out how to do the regulation so we wouldn't have a mess again for a long time until they deregulated, right? So I'd put Bill Black on that list, definitely, and you wonder why he's not on it. All right, so I have my own list. So are you ready? I know you've been looking forward to this. The 5 things we need to do to make sure that we have decent financial regulation in the country so we don't have another economic collapse. Number 1, this is very important. We have a structural problem literally in capitalism. I'm a capitalist. I like capitalism. I want it to work. I think it's suited towards human nature, but it has to be checked. humans are naturally greedy. That has an upside, that has a downside. We have to be able to regulate things smartly so that we can control that greed. In a controlled way, as Gordon Gekko says, it could be a good thing. Uncontrolled, it's a disastrous thing. So I mentioned that as part of point number one, because the corporations today, because of how they're structured in the stock market, are not run by the shareholders, the people who own them. They're run by the executives. Now you can say, well, obviously you need executives, the owners can't come in and run it. But the problem is that the executives appoint the board, and the board appoints the executives. So it's a circle, and the owners can't break through that circle. The board, the executives will say, all right, here's my list of people on the board. Now, if anybody votes yes, they're in. Okay, it's a simplistic explanation, but roughly it. There is a bill right now in the House that says no, the shareholders get a much bigger say on who's on the board, so they have a much bigger say in who runs their own companies. To which I say, of course, of course. If you don't have the owners who have the money at stake running the company, the executives will have all the incentive in the world to take the money for themselves, to take it out in compensation, salary, bonuses, etc. And then, because if the company collapses afterwards, and to take greater risk, because if the company collapses afterwards, it's not their money. So rule number one, give the actual shareholders, the owners of the companies, more power over who runs them. So sensible, you almost can't argue against it. So of course the Republicans are, the corporate Democrats are, and of course the executives are, because they're funneling the lobbyist money to those politicians. Point number two, limit credit default swaps. There's a real reason to have derivatives. There's a real reason to hedge for, if you have corn or you got oil or et cetera, commodities that you have. And that's why derivatives came up in the first place. But we do not have to allow bets on top of those derivatives, what they call naked credit default swaps, where it's just simply gambling. That is part and parcel of what brought down the economy. Ban them. Okay. We're nowhere near it. Right now, the Democrats are saying, can we please at least list some of those on an exchange? And there's gigantic loopholes. No, you can't list the foreign ones. No, you can't list ones from certain companies, which will then soon become all of the companies, etc. So that's point number two. You have to limit some of those credit default swaps that are just gambling. Point number three is you have to limit leverage. Okay, things are leveraged out of control. In 2004, the SEC did a unanimous ruling while no one was paying any attention. They lifted the leverage from about 12 to 1. So if you had $1, you can make about $12 in bets. They lifted it and they said, you know what? The companies get to decide on their own whatever leverage they think makes sense. And of course, you'll be shocked to find out that the companies decided that leveraging things to 33 to 1, as Bear Stearns did, 64 to 1, as Citigroup did, 95 to 1, as Fannie Mae did, that they were all very sensible and proposed no risk as long as the executives kept making that bonus money that they made off that risk. So you have to bring leverage back down. You have to fix that rule. You have to bring it back down to hopefully 10 to 1. Okay, if you have a dollar, you can make $10 worth of bets. Plenty good enough. Point number four. Right now, the credit rating agencies are paid by the people that they rate, the companies that they're rating. So, of course, they have all the incentive in the world to say, oh, no, those are great companies. I'll tell you what, AIG, AAA, they got a lot of money. Okay, AIG, now pay me. Well, of course that system doesn't work. They should be paid by the investors, because the investors rely on the ratings agencies to tell them, hey, is this a reliable stock? Is this a reliable company? Is this a reliable insurance company? And they have the incentive to get it right if they're being paid by the investors. Point number five is, look, the mortgage meltdown is what triggered the collapse. It's not the main reason behind the collapse. The bets are, the derivatives are, but it triggered it. And the reason that they made all these terrible mortgages is because the minute they did the transaction, they would take the mortgage or a package of mortgages and sell them to someone else. So they made the money off the transaction and they had no risk. So the idea is if you make a loan, you keep a loan. Now, that would be ideal, that you keep 100% of the loan. If you make it, then you have all the incentive to make a good loan rather than a crap loan that destroys the economy. That'll never fly. Right now, what Obama is saying is you have to keep 5% of the loan. That's not good enough. That's just the cost of doing business. They'll get beyond that in a second. My proposal, you have to keep 50% of the loan. I'm still going to let you play with 50%. Am I not merciful? But the other 50% you have to keep, so you have a very good incentive to make smart, stable loans that don't blow up the economy. Now, those are my 5 rules for fixing the economy so that we don't have another collapse and fixing the financial industry. The 6th one that I would add as a corollary is we could use a hell of a lot more transparency at the Fed. They're giving out trillions of dollars in money, and we don't know exactly where it's going because they won't tell us. They say it's secret. We can't have you be public. We can't have you be a regulator. We can't have you giving out over $2 trillion worth of money and not tell us where it's going. That's not how it's supposed to be in a democracy. Now, so we have these rules. Funny enough, I have a story related to that 6th rule, the corollary, if you will. It turns out the Fed last year made money. Okay, now this seems like really good news. It made a record amount of money, $45 billion. So you know how I tell you they lend out this several trillion dollars, $2.14 trillion to be exact, to the banks? Well, they get paid for that. And they get a little bit of money back, not much, but a little. But they give out so much that you can't help but make a lot of money from that, even if you get paid a minuscule amount. So they're going to return to the Treasury. And the money they get back, it's not run like a private corporation. They don't get bonuses, etc. The head of the Fed, Ben Bernanke, is capped. He makes under $200,000. There's no bonuses. So the money that they make goes straight back into the Treasury. The good news is, this year, they put $45 billion back into the Treasury. Hey, that's pretty cool. The downside to that is, well, if you're making $45 billion, that means you got a lot of money out there, and a lot of that money is at risk. And if you could make the money, you could also lose the money. So this year we had a good year, and remember, AIG had many, many good years because they were the guys that backed everybody up. So as long as the economy didn't collapse, they kept bringing in the money in fees. But when the economy collapsed, well, the bottom fell out and they didn't have enough money for it. Now, if the Fed is making the money now, it also means it's on the hook if things go wrong because they're actually buying the assets too now. That's part of the reason they're making a profit. But some of those assets they're buying are terrible. They're the toxic assets. So you heard it here first. Don't be too excited about that money they made and put back in the Treasury this year because it could blow up on us later. Okay. Now, when we come back, you know how, of course, I've been tough on the Democrats and their proposals for financial reform. If you think they're bad, wait till you get a load of the Republicans. Giuliani is going to say something unbelievably stupid. So is another Republican candidate from Florida. And then we're going to let Alan Grayson let him have it. Young Turks. All right, welcome back to the Young Turks, 3rd hour, nothing but fun. Anna is a woman, and she's on the set. All right, Anna, we got a lot of stories as usual.
We do.
We got a fire.
I know.
Go.
All right, let's do it. A company by the name of HCD Research has conducted a study of 300 people, and they asked those 300 people what they thought of Kim Kardashian's Carl's Jr. commercial. Oh,
the one we showed where she's chowing down on the burger and everybody's looking at
When she likes to get dirty and she likes to get clean afterwards. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, so...
but they didn't ask me. They asked women. Okay.
They asked women and men about the commercial and what their thoughts are, okay? A group of 300 people. Now, according to 69% of the women in the study, they said that the commercial was at least somewhat offensive.
Okay, at least somewhat offensive. I like that. I'm a little offended.
I mean, I have specific numbers. There are a certain number of people who thought it was extremely offensive, yada, yada. So, but then I also want to give you the male's perspective. 86% of males felt that the commercial was extremely effective.
Ha ha! There you have it, American marketing. Offensive, but effective. Now remember, the demo they're targeting with this ad is men.
Of course, I mean,
of course! Although I don't know what men are eating that salad, but maybe after this commercial some are, right?
Yeah.
So if they piss off the women to get to the men, I think that's a deal they're willing to make.
You know, okay, this is what I have to say about it, okay? This Kim Kardashian commercial is a strike back at women. You know why?
Why?
Because for a really long time, Carl's Jr. was banking off of insulting men. Remember, they had the commercials where the man didn't know how to make himself breakfast. He was cracking eggs, and he got, like, egg juice all over the place.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like, all right, we got to even the playing field here.
Yeah, what can we do?
Let's strike back at women. Let's do it.
They had to do it. They had to do it. Strike back.
Right.
Okay. Now, look, in case you haven't seen the ad or heard that, I mean, we just showed it to you, right? But let's give them the audio so that you can see
Just so you guys know what the ad's all about.
So you know what's offensive and effective at the same time, depending on who you are.
I'm such a neat freak. Everything's got to be clean, crisp, and tasty.
Always with the juice.
And while the best things in life are messy,
This is my favorite part.
it's fun to get clean.
Who said salads can't be hot? The new cranberry apple walnut grilled chicken salad. One of 3 new premium salads at Carl's Jr.
Okay, I have a couple things to say real quick.
Go.
All right. A, I've tried that salad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's
apparently effective with women as well, that ad, because you didn't try before that ad.
No, I mean, okay, let me tell you why. The circumstances under which I ate the salad, okay?
Okay, context matters.
Yeah. I was in Big Bear. There was nothing else to eat. I was forced to eat at Carl's Jr. It was the only fast food joint we could find, okay? I was not interested in the $5 burger. I didn't want
I believe it's
jalapenos and, oh, whatever. That burger that has way too much meat in it.
First of all, I totally agree. Second of all, it's called the $6 burger, even though it's not $6. It's always thrown me for a loop.
Right.
I know they're saying it's worth $6, but we're only charging you this.
We're only charging you $5.46 or something, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like $6 isn't like, whoa, it's a $6 burger.
Right, I
But
know.
anyway, so you tried it. How'd you like it?
I loved it, actually. Okay, let me tell you something.
Did you get dirty then clean?
No.
Okay.
But it was really good. It was a really good salad. It actually had like chunks of, I think it was feta cheese. It's supposed to be blue cheese, but it was feta cheese. It was good. It was delicious. Cranberries. They didn't skimp on the chicken. I was proud of them. It was good.
That's my favorite part of the story. When Anna gets proud of Carl's Jr. You know what, Carl's Jr.? Nicely done. Okay? She's proud of you. Pat on the head.
Because what is it? It's like, I don't know, $5, $6 salad, right? And normally when you go to a fast food joint and you pick up a salad, they totally skimp on the chicken. They'll give you like a little sliver of chicken, right? Or if there's supposed to be cheese in it, they'll give you like a couple little crumbles of cheese. But no, it's a pretty hearty salad and it's tasty. And it's not a diet salad by any means.
And you know, the funny thing is, I want to go to Carl's Jr. because they have these new like chimichangas or something. And I was like, I totally want to try that because I'm on the opposite end of that spectrum of food I like. Anyway, but shockingly enough, this not brought to you by Carl's Jr. Okay? Like, we're suckers. We should get paid for this sometime.
I know.
But look, the bottom line on the ad is you can see why it's offensive to some women. She's in the shower for no reason. It's a nice little clever thing. Get dirty, then get clean, just to put her in the bathtub, right? The juice is spilling all over the Carl's Jr. ads. Every single ad. I mean, it's a bit much, right? On the Padma one, even I was like, no, bounds of reason with the splurting her with the juice all over the things, you know? Okay, and then on the other hand, if you're a guy, what are you going to do? That ad comes on, you're going to turn away?
Yeah.
Go ahead, I dare you. There isn't a guy in America who's going to turn away from that ad. Keep it real.
I think I would find it offensive if it wasn't the correct representation of Kim Kardashian. That's what Kim Kardashian does. She makes money off sex. That's all she's known for. I mean, why are you going to get offended by that, women? We got our brains. We're doing our thing.
Right.
Don't feel bad about that.
Right. It would be different if the ad had Hillary Clinton in it, and then they would take a couple of those like packets, you know, those spicy hot packets, and they'll go. She's like, what? No, that would be insanely offensive. But you're right, Kim Kardashian. It's not that she's a woman; it's that she's basically in the business of selling her attractiveness and her sex. And so if she spills salad all over her breasts, everybody's having fun.
Right. By the way, speaking of Kim Kardashian making money off sex, she gets paid a hefty amount of money to Twitter. Okay. The Daily Beast actually did this whole article on Twitter and how much celebrities and semi-celebrities get paid based on the amount of followers they have on Twitter.
Okay, let's pause.
Okay.
Wait, did you say the number yet?
No.
Okay. So, you notice how I lost track in the middle? Okay, somebody get me a Carl's Jr. salad. Okay, so Kim Kardashian getting paid to tweet, as we find out, along with other celebrities and mini celebrities, etc. Let's do a fun guessing game. You guys know? Okay, so JR and Jesus, if you don't know, give me a guess as to how much you think Kim Kardashian gets paid per tweet from sponsors. Per tweet. JR's normally good at this. Let's see what happens.
I don't think so, man. This is a wild $5,000.
$5,000. Jesus Godoy, lower, or higher?
I'm going higher. I'm going to go to 10,000.
10,000. Jesus, per tweet. Are you crazy? 10,000.
Yeah, jeez. Jesus, did you read the article? That was pretty good.
No.
That was impressive.
Right.
No, $10,000 per tweet. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example of one of her tweets that opens up this article for us. It says, I must have pinched a nerve in my neck. I can hardly look to my left. I will pass out on my workout today. I need a massage. She's getting paid $10,000 for that.
Okay, wait, I missed it. Wait, what was the ad?
There's no ad in that. She's getting paid to tweet. Like, I mean, she drops, like, you know, a couple, like, advertisements in between, but she gets paid per tweet.
Nah, there's got to be something wrong with that. I mean, maybe it's a massage place that's paying her to tweet on that one. Okay, but, I mean, you can't, can you imagine? I mean, that would be, so McDonald's will give you, or in her case, Carl's Jr. gives you, you know, $10,000 a tweet, and you're like, oh, had lunch. But that's might even be relevant, right? I don't know. Went to take a shower. Well, again, that might be relevant. Okay, I don't know, whatever it is. I went to my car. I drove around a little bit. No, you can't get that. My guess is, from my reading of the article, is that she's getting 10,000 per tweet on the topic.
Right.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. Either way, okay, it's an insane amount. If, let's say it's Carl's Jr. again, because we know she does ads for them, right? If I'm getting paid 10,000 a tweet by Carl's Jr., I'm living at Carl's Jr. I'm like, oh, I'm at Carl's Jr. I just sat down. Tweet. I just went up and used the bathroom. Tweet. I just went up and got a salad. Tweet. I mean, you go get salad 12 times a day. What difference? They pay you 10,000 per tweet.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Oh man. See, this is how the rich get richer. And so, look, you know, part of me, first thing I think, Anna, is, you know what? Get some. Get some. You know, okay, if they pay you, yeah, cash in. What are you going to do? Say no? Of course. I hear you. The second part of me thinks if I'm following Kim Kardashian.
No, and the followers are pretty upset about it. That's what's interesting. Because, all right, let me just tell you how many followers she has. She has 2.7 million followers.
Jesus Lord mercy.
But you have to keep in mind, when you sign up for a Twitter account, it tells you, like, it suggests who you should follow, right? So she's always one of those suggested people. And, you know, they're like, oh, Kim, okay, fine, I'll follow her.
Yeah, but then why is Twitter giving her that huge advantage? You know, that's not cool. And then she's parlaying it into money. Why aren't we one of the people?
Are you saying that companies give advantage to those who have a big name?
Oh, my God. We've got a new discovery on the Young Turks.
Like, what are they going to, they're going to recommend me or they're going to recommend you?
Think about it, Twitter. Okay, so look, Anna, let's keep it real. You know, of course, it's the downside is your followers are like, I don't want to hear about your stupid Carl's Jr. ad.
Right.
It's bullshit. Why am I following you then, right? But if they came to us, would we do it? Would we sell out? Or how quickly would we sell out?
I would take Drew Pinsky's strategy in this. Drew Pinsky, the host of Loveline on K-Rock, he has agreed to do some tweets for sponsors, but he has like a middle ground. Like this is his quote exactly. He says that, hold on, I gotta read it to you.
Go.
It's treacherous, that's what he says about tweeting for sponsors. I don't want people to think, I love Pinsky, okay.
Treacherous. Okay, just calm down.
I don't want people to think I'm exploiting my followers. It's something
that I would like to.
It's something I would only do very, very occasionally. Okay, I like that. And really has something to do, something I already feel about this support. Like, so he already feels like he likes the product, and that's
that's the key part of it. The first part is nonsense. I'll do it infrequently. What does that mean? Okay, so you're not going to abuse it. Whatever. No. So, and I like Dr. Drew. It's not my fault. Look, here's how I would do it. Okay. I mean, you got to take the money. You got to take it, right? Unless they ask you to tweet, hey, do Republicans rock? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Senator McCain's awesome. I'm not going to tweet that. I'm not going to tweet anything I don't believe, right? Of course, right? But here's how I would handle it. I tell everybody, hey, listen, we just signed this sponsor, okay? Keeping it real. They pay us. We do a good show. And every once in a while, I'm going to tweet about it. But the reality is, I like IHOP, okay? Or whatever it is, right? I hope I like it. Otherwise, again, with Dr. Drew's line of thinking, then don't do it, right? And so it's a combo of the things. We're not lying to you. There's no BS. And we'll always tell you, if that's a sponsor, that's a sponsor. We're not going to hide it from you, okay? On the other hand, it's stupid not to take the money.
No, I agree.
Yeah. JR.
The only problem, if that ever happened between you two or anybody here, is the followers would get stuff. They'd get some interesting tweets. I mean, you're not going to say, I walked up to the front desk. Like, you'd probably stir up something to make sure something's happening. Or at least it'd be interesting, because that's the whole point of it anyway.
Oh, right.
So they want to hear what Kim Kardashian is doing. If she was, I don't know, I'm not going to say if she was smart, but if she's a bigger celebrity, obviously. So if it's one of us who wants to give people what they want, it's going to be some interesting, probably personal stuff.
You know what? Actually, come to think of it, Dr. Drew's standard is not bad, because the infrequently thing means basically what JR is getting at here. Look, give me 9 interesting tweets, and you throw in a 10th tweet about Carl's Jr. to get paid, I can live with it.
Right.
I mean, that'd be like if I was following someone and they went with that, I'd be like, yeah, I'm down with that. JR, how much would you take per tweet?
If I had a choice, I mean, I can go anywhere.
No, they come to you and they're like, hey, JR, I'm going to give you 1,000 a tweet. How quickly are you going to take that off?
Well, I'd say give me 1,500. I'll make them really good.
So, do we have any other numbers from that? Anybody else's tweets? I forget.
This is what I found super interesting, okay? Even fake Twitter accounts that have a ton of followers make money. Okay? This is probably the most interesting thing in the entire article. So this is what it says. Even fake Twitter accounts for Twilight God Rob Pattinson can command anywhere between $1,000 to $5,000 per tweet.
Jesus, man.
So it's not even the real celebrity. It's just someone who's posing as the real celebrity. But he happens to have a ton of followers because the followers don't know it's not the real thing.
Man, that you just gave people a lot of ideas right there. I mean, they're going to go to work on Twitter now. Like, oh, yeah, I'm Ashley Dupre. What a random one.
I know.
That ain't going to work. Try another one. Okay, I'm Halle Berry. I'm Megan Fox.
Well, people have already, there's so many fake accounts for every celebrity.
I know. Yeah. I'm Rick James, bitch. Pay me. All right. Fun for everybody. All right, give me another one. Go.
All right,
Keep it going.
All right.
Oh, are we ready to do the Ireland one?
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. The first minister for Northern Ireland, his name's Peter Robinson, has stepped down for 6 weeks because his wife is caught up in this crazy scandal. Okay. His wife is 58 years old. She had a affair with a 19-year-old man for a few years. In fact, she raised a lot of money for him so he could start his own restaurant. She raised about $80,000 for him.
Okay, well, look, first of all, get some. I mean, this is the poor son bitch that's got cheated on, right? For, obviously, as you said, the first minister of Northern Ireland?
Yes, first minister.
Right, and that's his wife right there. And I'll tell you what, for a cougar, I think she's really hanging in there from that picture. I'm going to need more pictures, and that's the 19-year-old who got the sugar mama.
Who doesn't look bad, wow.
He looks 19. Man, she went and robbed that cradle. She ain't playing. Get some. And then this lucky son of a bitch gets the first minister's wife, which is super cool, right? Kind of milfy looking, so everybody's having fun. And then on top of that, he gets paid. As a 19-year-old, gets to open up a restaurant. I mean, there's a win-win-win for this kid. I mean, he's like the king of Northern Ireland now. He's just walking up to people and he's like, what happened now? What happened now?
Yeah.
Okay, now here's the part of the story that enrages me. So he steps down.
Yeah, he steps down because he says he wants to step down so he could take time to answer questions, be there for his wife because they're claiming that his wife has mental illnesses and needs to be tended to.
She got tended to already.
And he says that he intends to come back after the 6 weeks and everything. So it's not like he's stepping down forever and it's over.
Like if he resigned, I'd have lost it, right? Okay. The 6 weeks, whatever, it's political controversy. I guess I could live with it, but it doesn't seem fair to take it out on that guy.
Right.
I mean, he already suffered already for this. It's not his fault.
They're saying that he knows about his wife soliciting money for her lover, and he didn't say anything about it. See, and also, he has, like, all of his supporters are, most of his supporters are conservative, right? So they're, you know.
They're not going to like the wife going, you know, door to door. But she didn't go door to door. It was just with a 19-year-old. Look, even if he's conservative, and there's the usual thing we do with the hypocrisy, etc., I just keep still thinking, he's not the one who cheated. You can't punish the guy for that, right? And so he knew about the money, but the thing is, with the sex scandals, they always get you on the money, right? There's always some sort of money, and they say, oh, no, it's not about the sex, it's about the money, and that gives people avenue to judge and not feel bad about it, right? Mm-hmm. And if you judge the woman, look, okay, and maybe she does have mental issues. I don't know. I mean, that's a... On the other hand, maybe she's just 58 years old and horny and thought this is a 19-year-old kid. That's kind of hot. I mean, guys do it all the time. Why not a woman, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into their family life too much. Who knows what's going on in their family? And even if he knows and he lets it go, hey, that's their business, man. Mm-hmm. I just, without knowing more about Northern Ireland politics and how conservative this guy is and how that relates to family values, et cetera, I got to say, from our perspective looking at it, let him go.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let him go.
I agree with that as well. They should let him go. I mean, even if he was having an affair, it wouldn't make me question his character as a person in his personal life, but that's his business. That's his life. Is it going to change the way he governs Northern Ireland? No, I don't think so.
As long as he's not judging other people for it. And in this case, he didn't have the affair. His wife did. I'm repeating that over and over because it seems so wrong to punish him after he already got screwed. You know, assuming that he didn't like his wife having an affair with a 19-year-old and collecting money for his restaurant and becoming a sugar mama, you know. Now, and I know the whole thing's uncomfortable because, you know, as he's an important leader in the country, et cetera, people are uncomfortable with it. But, hey, that's life, man. You know, I hate to tell people this, but all of our sex lives are a little uncomfortable. It's like whenever you start talking about anybody's sex life, it's like, ugh. And the leaders of countries, they also have sex. So we got to be a little less judgmental on that stuff, especially if they're not the ones who did it. All right, we'll be right back. Thanks for watching the video podcast. And, of course, if you become a member on theyoungturks.com, you can get the whole 3-hour show.
Plus an uncensored post-game show.
Those are fun. Young Turks.